Hello there, people of the internet. This is kind of a foreign concept to me, but you know what? I'm going to go ahead and make this video. I love talking about when to stockpile ammunition and when to get your reserves up and make sure that you're prepared for whatever sort of situation might come up down the road. However, that being said, there are some situations where you should not stockpile ammunition, so let's go ahead and talk about that. This right here is my take on when you should avoid stockpiling ammo and when you should just flat out not do it. So first off, I'm going to say stockpiling ammo is a really good idea, and you should try to do it as much as you possibly can, because who knows what's going to happen down the road, especially in the world that we live in and how uncertain everything is. So let's go ahead and talk about it. Whenever it comes to not stockpiling ammo, oh god, I don't even know how to start this video. Let's start with like the obvious stuff. If you are broke or you're in debt or something like that, focus on not being broke or in debt above stockpiling ammo. Now, I'm going to tell people, get what you need to be able to keep yourselves safe and whatnot, but getting a couple of boxes of 223, 556 to be able to keep you, your loved ones safe, etc., is going to be a much easier, much more viable option than going out and trying to get 5,000 rounds of the stuff for just-in-case purposes. So if you're dealing with financial issues, yeah, stockpiling ammo is probably not something that you want to do. Now, another big one, you got to focus on the types of ammunition that you stockpile. Like, for example, if your primary firearm is an AK-47 and you got your 8K, but you know, maybe you're like me and you're a military surplus guy, so you got your AK and like you got a box of 40 rounds for it, right? But then you go out and you got yourself your 8mm Mauser bolt action rifle and you get yourself, I don't know, 1,000 rounds of 8mm Mauser for it because you like it better. That's probably not something that you should do. You should get your primary fighting rifle squared away before you get your I like this better rifle set up. So if you don't have a means to be able to get more ammunition for your primary rifle because you're spending all of your money and all of your resources on your just for fun rifle, that's probably not a good idea. So you want to pay attention to the kinds of ammunition that you are actually stockpiling, and that's an example of when you should probably not do it. If you don't have your primary stuff squared away, you want to get that squared away before you start focusing on the things that are just not essential, that are basically being done because a couple of reasons why you would want to do it. Most of the time people do those kind of things just for fun. Then they'll try to justify it like, hey, this is a better than nothing rifle, but at the same time, they'll neglect their better than everything rifle. So don't be one of those people. Don't go out and get yourself a bunch of ammo just based off of emotional reasons. Focus on getting your actual primary setup properly squared away. Now, another one. This right here is more or less an opinionated one, but I still think it is a good idea just because of cost to deliverance ratio. I'm not quite sure what that means. I just came up with it off the top of my head, but I'm still going to dive into it. If you're going to go out and stockpile, I don't know, I got some 9mm here. If you're going to go out and stockpile, say 9mm, I would recommend stockpiling the cheaper full metal jackets, which you can get a lot of very, very easily, as opposed to stockpiling the over $1 a round specialty defensive ammunition that a lot of people would want to use in their concealed carry handgun or for everyday carry. Just it's a good defensive round. Of course, you do want to get yourself an ample supply of those, but I'm not saying go out and stockpile thousands and thousands of rounds of those. Try to focus on the cheaper stuff that you're still going to be able to rely on, simply because you can stack a lot more of this a lot easier, a lot quicker than you could something like specialty ammo. Unless, of course, you're rich, in which case, hey, give me a call. But I definitely recommend going with the cheaper full metal jackets because it is just simply easier to stockpile that sort of ammunition. And another example, this is actually one that I personally do. After you get your stockpile, of ammunition that is already loaded and ready to go. Like in this particular case, I got a bunch of this steel case stuff that I use for video purposes. Once you get your stockpile of ammunition that is ready to go, try to get your hands on something that is more like this right here, as opposed to getting just like the cheapo bottom of the barrel ammunition. Look out and get yourself something that is reloadable. This is 6.5 JAP. I would definitely not recommend getting this for SHTF purposes. This is just an example. Get yourself something that is reloadable, like some reloadable 223, 5.56 or 7.62 by 39, and a bunch of components once you already have your ammunition. Unless, of course, you're investing a little bit more money in your stockpile to, say, get like PMC or something like that is already reloadable, in which case, hey, thumbs up, you are good to go. Having the option to be able to reload your ammunition in the event that you need to could be a really, really good idea. Might save your ass down the road. So, just my 2 cents on that particular take. Alright, another big one. This is one that I personally am guilty of. Do not stockpile ammunition if you do not have a good place to store it. You definitely don't want that ammo going bad, especially if you're stockpiling it specifically for like long-term situations that might potentially pop up in the future. It doesn't matter if you buy the ammo and you stockpile it. I don't care if you got 10,000 rounds of 223, 5.56. If you have it in storage in your shed for 5 years and then something pops off and you need it, so you dig into it and lo and behold it's all duds and hangfires just because it was improperly stored. So get the storage capabilities for that ammunition before you actually get around to stockpiling it. That would be a really good idea. Trust me, you will thank me later on that one. You also don't want to stockpile ammunition whenever there's like a shortage going on and people are panic buying and the prices on ammo absolutely skyrocket. If you're waiting until that point to stockpile ammo, then you're doing it wrong. Get the ammo whenever times are good and people are not freaking out, typically like 2 or 3 years before an election cycle. That's when things tend to be their calmest and people are not like freaking out because the media is telling them to freak out. You don't want to go out and have to spend like $1 plus on cheapo bottom of the barrel, just ammunition that should normally not be that price. So if you're going to go out and stockpile ammo shortage is not the time to do it. Alright, I think I've pretty much just got one more that comes to mind. If you're like me and you have a bunch of different rifles in a bunch of different chamberings, go out and get yourself some ammo for those rifles in those chamberings. But if you have, like I got a bunch of oddball stuff, 303 British, 6.5 Jap, 6.5 Carcano, 7.35 Carcano, 7.5 Swiss, etc., etc. I got a bunch of just random stuff that I'm not going to go and stack 1,000 plus rounds for because they're not my primary setup. So if you have a bunch of random stuff that you're not going to use for a primary setup in some sort of situation, don't stockpile ridiculous amounts of ammo for them, not unless you have the disposable income. Focus on getting ammunition for things that you would actually legitimately be using. Now, on top of that, don't get ammunition if you have, don't stockpile massive quantities of ammunition and blow your money on it if you have other factors that are not attended to. Like if you don't have food supplies or water supplies or a place to go in the event that something happens and you need to leave, or you don't have a way to be able to transport things, etc., etc. Focus on those aspects versus stockpiling way more ammunition than you would ever be able to viably use. Alright, I think I've made my point here. I'm just going to go ahead and end this video because I can't really remember. I had one other thing that I can't quite remember, so I'm just gonna do the outro. Thanks for watching, folks. I appreciate your time. Like, subscribe, share. Description below has a link to all sorts of stuff. Go check it out. You guys go off, have yourself a fantastic day, and I will see you guys in the next episode.
Been a little while since I've done this. Bonnie and Clyde be damned. The poor man's Garen. It's a shame that bolt-action shotguns aren't more mainstream.